So the first what I'm going to do is all about your competitors. So in business, whether we kind of admit it or not, or spend as much time on it or as we maybe should, we all mostly compete against other people. So for instance, I have a business course and there are hundreds of other business courses out there. So I spend a lot of time looking at what other people do, how they do it. Is it all online? Is there a physical textbook? Are there classroom sessions? Are the classroom sessions actually live that people can talk to you? Can people ask questions? How do you make it accessible and easy, and what's the price and that kind of thing? But the truth is, no matter what your business is, so Matthew, who mentioned about the cheese on toast, is very senior in a logistics company, but there's more kind of strings to the bow. Matthew, if you're seeing this, I'd love to know how you kind of check out your competition. But one of the things that's really important to do is actually follow your competitors, watch their social media, look at how they position themselves in the market. Is there a certain initiative that they're going after? One of my customers is a recruitment firm, and at the moment the recruitment market is actually pretty tough, that there's a lot more jobs advertised than there are people applying for jobs. So there was one particular firm who said, they made a really big press release that they were going to go after recently retired people and students. So almost they've tried to make a USP, which they're trying to push to clients, on why they're different through targeting an area which might be less tapped than others. So almost I can't fault that. That's cool, and they do that. But what it's really important to do is look at the landscape, look at who you compete against, and then from that actually try and figure out, okay, how can we be different? How can we stand out? And therefore, how can you also understand the drivers of the people that you're trying to target? So in recruitment, it's trying to get people to apply for jobs. In what I do, it's trying to get people who have ambitions to work on personal development and different stuff, but maybe can't afford to access either time or price or something else of traditional education, business education. And it doesn't really matter what you do. One of the most valuable things is look at your competitors, but actually get a feel for where they're stronger maybe than you, and actually work around that. One prime example, so I'm a director of an offshore energy company. We have competitors that are much bigger. They have much bigger factories and that kind of thing. So in terms of sheer cost and also volume, we can't compete because they have factories which are 5-10 times bigger than ours. So what we really do is focus on things like quick turnaround. So it's the fact that we make arguably the same stuff, but through having a smaller team, you can quite literally ring my phone or one of the other guys. We can then turn it around much, much quicker than a big corporate machine. So actually part of the niche of the business is in the ability to do stuff quickly, because we've looked at how we can compete against our competitors. And it's not in just sheer muscle and size and price. It's actually being a lot smarter. But the truth is exactly the same for you. One example is that there's a very good course, I'm not going to knock it, called the Mini MBA in Marketing. A guy called Mark Ritson, who's a Brit who now lives in Australia, kind of runs it. It's someone that I see as one of my enemies. If you look at it, it's someone that I would love to replicate. They've had, I think it's 20,000 people complete the course over its life, and I'm going to guess that's 10 years. But their course sells for £1,450, which times 20,000 is £28 million that they've took over time for their marketing course. And what I always find quite interesting, I have huge respect for Mark and what he does and how they've executed. It's very slick. It's very, very good, actually. But it was in the Q&A and almost in some of my kind of consumer research. A lot of the people on the course, they can watch the online video, and there's 10 online classes which you do over the course of 12 weeks, but they're all pre-recorded. And although they do the occasional classroom session like this, the actual classroom sessions aren't live. So they do Q&As where you can ask questions, but it's still like a step removed from, you don't actually get to speak to Mark Ritson and join a Zoom call and work through the 10 lessons at any one time together. And Mark's reasoning, because they did this virtual open day thing, which I watched yesterday, was that it was to, because you have people in different time zones around the world, they couldn't make it work in terms of having people accessible for Australia and America and whatever. So they went the digital route. And whilst that is partly true, because that's the route I originally went down, people still want the live interaction. So the truth is, and what you can do is just do the paying, create more classroom sessions. And yes, you have to work harder. So we have one that starts at 8 p.m. in the UK. We have another which is 7 a.m. But you can still cover the whole globe and have accessible materials as well as the videos. But my point is, through actually watching the guy talk and looking at how they do their course and how they do it differently, you can actually define your own niche as a way to do it better. And it was just something I thought was really interesting in terms of watching your customers, follow their social media, follow their press releases. If they're a big company, read their annual report. And actually, they will often tell you clues and stuff about what their approach is. Then the more you understand about business strategy and stuff, we can then actually dive into this, and it's stuff we all cover in the course, but that will give you a competitive advantage just to help you move forward in your business or career. So it was just a short kind of segment I wanted to kind of touch on. But if you've got any questions, I'd love to know. And likewise, I'd also love to know how and if you track your customers, or if you don't, that's cool, but I'd love to know why not as well.